Some nights stay with you forever, not because of what happened, but because of what almost did. There are stories that end loudly, and then there are stories that end quietly. So quietly that no one ever knows how close you came to disappearing. This is one of those nights. Everything started on a road in the middle of nowhere. The Drive. I was driving back home after visiting my boyfriend at his college. Nothing reckless, nothing unusual. I'd done this drive before, about 3 hours, mostly straight roads, mostly empty. An expressway cutting through rural land, fields, trees, darkness that felt endless. No houses, no streetlights, no signs of life, just road. It was late, not late night late. It was the kind of late when the world feels shut down. A friend was with me. She'd been drinking earlier, not out of control, just enough to be careless. By the time we reached the highway, she was already asleep, head against the window, breathing slow, which meant there was no conversation, no radio, just the sound of tires on asphalt. And my thoughts. The road felt longer than usual, like it wasn't moving forward, like the darkness kept repeating itself. Isolation. If you've ever driven through a truly rural area at night, you know this feeling. There's a moment when civilization disappears. No gas stations, no billboards, no glow on the horizon. Even the stars feel distant. Your car becomes a small island of light, and outside that light, there's nothing. I checked my mirrors again and again, not because I saw something, because I didn't. The road was empty, unnaturally empty. That's when the steering wheel started shaking. Something goes wrong. No warning, no buildup. The wheel began to vibrate violently. For half a second, my body froze. Then instinct kicked in. I eased off the gas, held the wheel steady, tried not to panic. Every worst-case scenario hit at once. Blowout, loss of control, ending up somewhere no one would find us. My friend didn't wake up. Somehow, I kept the car straight. And then I saw it. A rest stop exit, right there. I took it immediately. The rest stop. The parking lot was almost completely empty. Few dim lights, no movement, no sound. The kind of place that feels abandoned even when it's not. I parked and shut off the engine. For a moment, I just sat there, listening. Nothing. I got out to check the car. The tire. The tire was nearly flat, not destroyed, just slowly collapsing. I opened the trunk, pulled out the spare and the jack. My hands were shaking, adrenaline, not fear. Cell phones existed back then, but service didn't always exist. I checked my phone, 1 bar, then none. That's when I noticed movement. The first 2 men. They came from another part of the rest stop, a part I hadn't been looking at. I hadn't seen them arrive. They didn't rush, they didn't wave. They asked if I needed help. Their voices sounded normal, friendly. I told myself I was being paranoid. It was late, I was alone. Changing a tire isn't easy, so I said yes. They started helping, but almost immediately something felt off. They used the wrong tools, did the steps out of order. They looked unsure. Minutes passed, nothing changed. It felt like they weren't trying to fix the tire. It felt like they were killing time. Fear set in. I tried to politely tell them I'd handle it. That's when my friend opened the car door. She stepped out, drunk, smiling, talking too much. My stomach dropped. I rushed to get her back inside, apologizing, laughing nervously, but my hands were shaking now. This wasn't inconvenience anymore. This was fear. Something changes. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw headlights. A car pulling out from a dark corner of the parking lot. I hadn't known it was there. 2 men stepped out, and before they reached us, the first 2 men panicked. Their energy changed instantly. They didn't argue, they didn't explain. They ran to their car and drove off, fast. The silent helpers. The 2 new men walked over. They didn't smile, they didn't introduce themselves, they didn't ask questions. They went straight to work, efficient, confident, silent, every movement precise. They changed the tire quickly, like they'd done it 100 times before. No one spoke, and strangely, that silence felt safer. They leave. When they were finished, I whispered, "Thank you." Both men nodded. That was it. They got back into their car and drove away into the same darkness they came from. Aftermath. I drove home on the spare tire, slow, silent, wide awake. It's been more than 20 years, and I still think about that night. Who were those men? How long had they been watching? What did they see that made them step in? And what would have happened if they hadn't? Sometimes help doesn't announce itself. It doesn't explain. It doesn't stay. It just shows up when you need it most. And then it disappears back into the dark.